I'd have Emma Thompson. She can negotiate and barter her way in and out of anything, and I think that's important. She'd make it really fun.
Describe Dragon Day in 10 words or less.
Epic, apocalyptic, thrilling, but also personal and emotional.
What is Dragon Day about and who is it for?
Dragon Day is about a world-changing event where dragons rise up and threaten humanity. It is a story about the fight for survival and how survival changes us. And it's really for anyone who enjoys high-stakes survival stories that have elements of sci-fi and fantasy in them, but they're rooted in something personal and relatable and emotional.
What was your favourite scene to perform as Neve?
My favourite scene was the scene between Neve and the zoologist. She interviews the zoologist about the anatomy and the biology of a dragon. And he explains how a dragon can breathe fire and how, despite that they are very large, how it's possible that they can fly. And for me, it sort of sums up the tone of this story of something that feels very far out there, very fantasy and sci-fi, and yet with the scientific detail of how plausible it could be that these animals or these creatures are living among us. And so it's really funny and it's fascinating and kind of had me convinced.
If you had to live through an extreme disaster like Neve, who would you want by your side?
I think I would want Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird because he'd give great dad energy. I think he would also be a quiet hero, so he wouldn't create more drama or need to display how good he was at something. I feel like morally he's going to make the right choice. And then as an antidote, I'd have Emma Thompson. And the reason why is that she is such a hoot and she uses her humour as a great way of creating an environment where everyone kind of comes together. And I also think that she can negotiate and barter her way in and out of anything. And I think that's a really useful tool in an apocalypse. She'd make it really fun. And that's important.
How do you approach action-driven storytelling in audio?
You might think, it's much easier, but it's unique in its challenge in that you have to be very specific in how you use your voice. The importance is knowing that it's all in the breath. So if it's an active scene, it's much better that I'm standing up or that I've done some star jumps. It's something you can feel it, you can hear it. But at the same time, if you can't control that breath, it can kind of splash out on the microphone. If I'm doing a scene that I'm running, but I'm actually physically running in a booth, that's going to be a nightmare for the sound engineer because my feet are then going to be, making it not clear what the words are. So it's remaining quiet, but having the energy in the breath that conveys the movement. And that comes from experience and working and collaborating with the team around you to make sure that it's all being conveyed as it should.
What cheers you up?
Walking through London on a sunny day. There's nothing like it. For me, I grew up in inner city London and I love a city soundscape and I love the hustle and bustle and the variety and the diversity and the different smells and the different sounds. And walking through a market into a London park, because our parks in this city are amazing. And I find walking and also being around people and different people gets me out of my head, clears my thoughts, but just cheers me up. It's therapeutic, but it's also wonderfully distracting. Like, get out of our heads and get into the streets and connect with people on a human level.
What books have had the biggest impact on you?
When I was at school, I had this amazing teacher called Mrs. Alexander, who was my English teacher. And the way that we studied To Kill a Mockingbird and then in A-level studying The Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy, George Eliot's Silas Marner. These were great books, but having a teacher and a class discussion about terms like pathetic fallacy and how an author can use nature and a storm to express the internal experience of a character and understanding things like onomatopoeia and assonance and alliteration, all these figures of speech that made, for me, understand that language was meant to be felt as opposed to intellectualized. Those books became turning points because I had the right teacher helping me to open up to all the secrets that lay within them, the books within the books, the intentions and the visions, the imagination of the author. And really that sort of set me on the path. Now when I read great books, it's because I feel like I've had that education.
And what's your favourite sound?
My favourite sound is my grandmother's laugh. When I was a kid, we went to see a tape recording of a comedy show called Father Ted. My grandmother is a very elegant, quiet, reserved woman. However, when something makes her go, it is a raucous eruption of joy from the full expanse of her soul, and it is so contagious. We have like a VHS recording of that episode that we were there to watch the live recording of, and you can hear my grandmother laughing louder than anyone in that audience. And you also know that everyone in the audience then laughs louder because of her laugh. From when I was a child to this very day, it is the most joyful feeling to hear her laugh. And it's also because it's not all the time. It's a real gift and it's special. So when you get the chance to hear it, you feel like, wow, this is a special moment in time.